Hey up everyone, we're back. I would say it's a new series, but it's not. We're just continuing. We've had a little break, but it's good to be back. And today I've got man like Porter Brook in, Sheffield-born and bred, but he's from, well, you're living in Leipzig these days, aren't you? So it's nice to catch you while you're over.
Indeed.
Yeah, how are you doing? What you been on with?
Doing well. I'm at the moment. I mean, I'm just back for a week or so to see the fam, catch up with everyone in Sheffield, chill out, enjoy an ale.
Nice.
They don't exist in Germany. Just fizzy lager.
Oh yeah, it's all lager all there,
It's all
isn't it?
lager. So I think my sort of modus operandi this week has been seeing as many friends, family as I can, and then fitting as much ale inside of me as humanly possible, really. So that's kind of just been my crack for recently. And then other than that, just living out in Leipzig at the moment. And yeah, just taking it steady.
Sounds good. Do you say this is your holiday?
This is my holiday.
As if not that many people go holidaying in Sheffield.
No, but that's where they're wrong though. This is it's the best holiday destination outside of maybe Magaluf, I think. I reckon. But yeah, I mean, like I said, mostly back to touch base and see everyone.
Connect at roots and that.
Exactly, yeah. It can get quite lonely on the continent sometimes.
Oh, bless you.
So, yeah, I know.
Still, are you enjoying it out there?
I am. It's wicked. Like, it's so cool. I think, like Leipzig itself, it's a very unique city, I think, in many ways. It's quite different to the rest of Germany as well. I think it's because it's obviously in the old East, and lots of stuff has remained more or less untouched for like the best part of like 20 years, and it just leads to the place being like basically super unique and full of really cool stuff and cool people, and it's just great. Just really loving it. Really loving it.
There's a lot of like brutalism architecture out there.
Yeah, lots of brutalism architecture. A lot of this like really sort of sturdy like Soviet like blocks.
Concrete.
Lots of concrete, but it's also mixed in with all like the old, like the really old sort of really beautiful European architecture, sort of pre 1800s or whatever. I don't really know the specifics. So that really ornate stuff with big house, like big rows of European houses, balconies and all that. And then a lot of that stuff's like also over time fallen into disrepair. So it's like you got these like wonderful massive like European like blocks and with like all the kit and caboodle, and then just everything's absolutely tagged to an inch of its life. Like,
sounds proper.
It's a cool juxtaposition. And then like you got all of that sort of in the city, and then sort of outside of that there's like loads of lakes that you can access in like 15 minutes or so on your bike.
Sick.
So it's just like you're just out there, sort of in the city in these blocks and stuff, and then 15 minutes just out in like proper beautiful nature, swimming in open water and stuff. So it's a mad balance, to be honest.
Bit like the peaks.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you see similarities between Sheffield and Leipzig?
I think that's, but I think subconsciously was a massive draw.
Yeah.
It is having that balance of like the city, and then you can get out into some greenery when you want to. And I think, I mean, when I think about it, I do see a lot of similarities between Sheffield and Leipzig, actually, weirdly.
Nice, I need to come over there, I need to check it out.
Check it out.
So I was saying to you before, been to loads of places in Germany, but that's one I need to tick off.
Exactly. Well worth doing, way better than Berlin, I think.
Is that the hype thing?
I think hype, overhype, I don't know.
Is there any good venues in Leipzig?
Yeah, there's some really good ones. Lots of stuff that's been opened for a very long time. So like in terms of clubs, there's the EFZ, that's closing at the end of the year. And then there's like Coney Island, which was like back in the 90s. They had loads of like hip hop stuff. So like
Sick.
you know, like, I think Snoop Dogg played there once, like back in the 90s in like sort of East Germany. I'm
Probably
not sure.
like in his heyday.
In
as
his
well,
heyday,
then.
or it might have been the early 2000s. You know, someone please fact check me on that. But yeah, you know, there's lots of really cool venues, and the thing is as well, I think this is the kicker with Leipzig as well, is that there's loads of like essentially off location and semi-legal, semi-not legal, depends who you ask, type establishments, and that's essentially where I spend a lot of my time as well. And then also in the summer, like because of how the city is, it's sort of industrial past, and then also being right on nature as well. Like every summer, I think it's sort of decreased in the past couple of years a little bit, but just free parties, just really high quality like raves essentially. You know, like your weekends would be like, this party's going on somewhere here, and I'll send you the coordinates, and you whack your coordinates on your phone, and go, oh, that's alright, that's only like 45 minutes on the bike. Jump on your bike, pedal, and then you're there. And,
That sounds
good. Yeah, and it's a bit surreal, to be fair. Like, I couldn't imagine. I mean, obviously you have that stuff in the peaks from time to time as well. I mean, you did when I was in school anyway.
I remember going to Surprise View.
Classic. But like just on that scale, and just like, you know, just it being like an active and alive culture, it's really unique. Like, you know, for example, like, you know, so 2 weeks ago or so, like I went to this like party, and like I guess it was a party. A lot of these things can go on for a very long time as well if you're that way inclined. But you know, we went to this party just like outside of Halle, which is like a satellite town outside of Leipzig. And it was just on this like abandoned farm from the DDR times, and like they had these like mega greenhouses that were all like windows done in and stuff, and the people have been squatting there for essentially years.
Yeah.
And we just went to this absolutely like massive party, and they just loaded a sound system into like into a farmhouse basically, and that was it. Like, you know, and they always like they bring like a bar as well, so you can get these like big crates of beer and stuff, drinks or whatever. So people always just load in like these big crates, and like, you know, you jump on the train, cycle out, and then it's like, you know, you pay what you want for your drinks as well. It's like all proper. Nice. It's all proper, like, you know, fare, and yeah, you just the accessibility of just like. Yeah, like cultures and parties and stuff, and especially in the summer. It's the same in the winter, but in different sort of other venues and locations, for like gigs and live music as well. It's mad. It all operates on this very low key basis, I think, and that's what sustains it, you know. And that's really cool. I don't know any other city in Europe, maybe, but I also might not be looking at it as well, you know.
Yeah, fair.
But that's where I landed, and that's like, and I'm just there, and I'm like, wow, this is really, really sick, really sick.
Sounds it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yes.
So let's take it back then, I
Right.
guess. So like, before you ended up going to Leipzig, like, what got you started with production and DJing over here, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's quite a long story.
You're on a podcast, so
we're on a podcast. Yeah,
tell
it. I guess it all kicked off. I played guitar since like early childhood. Like, that was like the first thing. I think, you know, I got hold of Guitar Hero when I was like a kid, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. You know, could be a rock star. And yeah, I was just a guitarist, like just sort of in my very early years, like 4 or 5 or so. I picked that up and was just jamming away, and yeah, and that was really my life for like sort of for many years as I was a kid. And I was really into like my metal and my rock and stuff like that. And yeah, as I got older, I obviously wanted to play in a band, but I didn't have enough friends to play in a band, really. And I was like, well, it sort of occurred to me that, like, you know, you can play to like backing tracks and stuff like this, but you can't write music to stuff like that. And our next door neighbour at the time, so this must have been when I was probably like 12 or so, so sort of pre-teens, like that pre-teens, early teen, like early secondary school. And he was like our next door neighbour at the time, Ricky. Shout out to Ricky, absolute legend. He was a massive head from back in the day. And he had turntables and production gear and synths and whatnot in his gaff next door. And he was basically like, oh well, you can write music with a computer. And I was like, all right, cool. And he sort of then gave me a very legally acquired and entirely legitimate copy of Ableton and FL Studio back in the day, which was all acquired through entirely legitimate means, and 100% paid for, and entirely all above board. Just to try it out.
Straight face.
Just straight face. Yeah. And yeah, so there I was, with my 800 quid's worth of very legitimately acquired software, and yeah, it was just writing tunes essentially, mainly with the guitar and stuff, and programming my drums and having a great time. And then essentially came a point where I was like, I can actually do way more with a computer than I can with a guitar.
And you don't need anyone else, really.
I don't need anyone else, yeah, exactly. And yeah, and I was at that point, I was like, well, it's not really worth me bothering playing guitar much anymore. I just program it.
But learning that surely handy for the music theory side of it, anyway.
Yeah, of course. And like it's, I think you develop like an intuition as well musically with stuff that you can obviously just like whack into the computer and stuff. And then that was it. And then it was sort of a rabbit hole from sort of writing music to play to then just sacking off the instruments completely, and just going full computer nerd mode really. And that was really how it was from about the ages of 13 to 16 or so. And yeah, like in that time, weirdly, I'd found a couple of friends. Like I got a good crew of mates sort of as I was sort of finishing up with my GCSEs and stuff and heading into like A levels. And yeah, we ended up going. It's like friends of mine were going to this youth group at Sight Gallery at the time.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, Pete, they're doing really cool stuff. You should come with. I was like, oh, wicked, awesome. So I got involved with that, and then that's really when that was kind of like a bit of a gateway to me, because like essentially, we were doing. It was like, I think it was definitely easily the coolest after school art club like maybe ever. Like we were doing amazing, like really cool art and stuff, and then we were doing like workshops with like Ryan Trainer, obviously Ashley Holmes as well.
Yeah.
Like, I met him.
Vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
I still call him that. So is Ash.
Actually, like absolute legend, and then and then I also met like Elle, who at the time was going out with Jamie from Groundwork, and then at some point I think I did like my first gig in Endcliffe Park when I was like 16 or 17 or so. Hilarious given my name, but like and then with the Ryan Trainer workshop and stuff after that, and obviously like I just did not clock at the time that how cool all of this was. I was like, well, it's fucking awesome, look at this. And then at some point, Elle and Jamie were like, oh, yeah, you should come down to Groundwork. And I was like, oh, right, cool, what's Groundwork? It's like, it's on a Thursday night in the Shakespeare's pub. You should pop down, we're just running it. And I was like, all right, cool. And then, there I was, like, fucking fresh-faced, cheeky chappy. Went down to Groundwork, and I was like, oh my God, you guys really like electronic music too. Oh my God, that was well cool. And then that was it essentially, and then that was the next like sort of 2 years of my life was just like groundwork like every month religiously, and then out of all of that I think everything just really blossomed. Like, you know, met all my friends, and you know, all this stuff. It was just such an amazing melting pot for everyone, and especially at that age as well. I think looking back, I was like, wow, I'm in a pub. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a pub, like, you know, listening to really cool tunes on like on a half-decent sound system. This is wicked,
Yeah.
like, you know.
So it's a good little venue upstairs, the Shakespeare
For sure,
as well.
For sure, it's wicked, and yeah, I had some like, yeah, just all of my sort of formative years were essentially, you know, like spent in and around that with my mates and everyone there. So it was just kind of that really, like, you know, just sort of totting around in your room, and then yeah, just like, you know, after school club initiatives leading you to the pub. It's great. You know?
Have you always gone under Porter Brook then?
I have, and yeah, that's the thing. It was like, because obviously when I was like starting out making these tunes, when I was very young, I was like, oh yeah, that's a really, really cool name. There's absolutely nothing remotely cringe or like or whack about that name at all. And then basically by the time that I'd like grown up and realised actually how awful and cringe that is, given, you know, like,
I love it. I think it stands out. Yeah.
I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about it, because like obviously I think it sounds alright to people that aren't from Sheffield.
Yeah.
But then when you're from Sheffield, you're like, and you go past the Porter Brook and you see it, it's like a river maybe like 1 foot wide. You know what I mean?
There's a pub next to it.
And there's a pub next to it. Yeah, and you're just like, it's a bit naff, innit? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's something like Chapel Walk as well.
Yeah, Chapel Walk as well. Yeah, I think definitely must have started a trend.
More Sheffield producers using
geographical.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. But yeah, I mean, like, I think, you know, but fundamentally at the time I couldn't really think of anything else to change it to, you know, and that was it really. But yeah, always been called Porter Brook. I think I've just sort of made my peace with that.
That's
really,
it. Just
more or less.
Roll with it.
Just roll with it, exactly. But yeah, so that was kind of the crack. Just bedroom nerd, and then became pub nerd. So that's about it, really. Yeah.
So what was the step from, right, I'm going to take this to Leipzig then? Was it just a case of you moving there anyway, or did you move there for the music?
No, so I mean, Leipzig's a weird one. So I mean, essentially, like, my reasons for being there don't really involve music massively, even though it is like a great place to be for music, and also really accessible to Berlin as well. You can be in Berlin on an hour from the train, and your rent's half the price. You know, like, it's great, and it's got its own thing going on as well. Essentially, I ended up studying languages at uni, so I did German and like linguistics and stuff, and essentially I ended up doing a year abroad out in Leipzig 2 years ago as part of, I think, like the last Erasmus scheme ever before the government scrapped that, because it's not a great idea. And I'd just like literally the best year like ever. And so I finished up with my degree last year, and sort of obviously, you know, you come to that point when you're like, you know, for people that study, you finish your degree and you just obviously don't have a clue what you want to do with your life or what you're doing or where you're going. And I was like, well, I could hang around here, but then also a friend's just told me that like there's a flat going back in Leipzig. Would be cool to move, and also I was like, you know, if I move back, like, at least I'm keeping my language chops up, you know, like I'm still speaking German. It'd be a shame to, like, you know, spend best part of 4 years like studying all of that, and then, you know, like, languages, you can lose them super quickly if you're not using them, obviously. So it's just like, I was like, okay, I'll move back, sort of tread a bit of water, figure out what it is I want to do, and then at the same time just keep up speaking, because obviously sunk a lot of time into that back in the day. So it worked out it worked out in that regard, all right. But the move wasn't hugely motivated by tunes. I think if I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go and like, you know, absolutely hammer the tunes, you probably move to London. Or,
That's
do you know
what most people say, innit?
For sure. And it's all not off the cards yet. But like, it's like, it wasn't factoring hugely into my decision as well. But
do you play out there much? Like
I
sets
do.
and that?
Yeah, I do. More or less. I mean, this year it's like it was a bit difficult because I was just like working in a bar for the first year, just like trying to sort of establish myself, get a job.
I feel like that's what most people when they get the degree do.
Exactly.
Like, I know so many people who got a degree and then just first thing they do, work on a bar.
Exactly. You're just like, right, okay, I just need to sort of find my feet. And it was in many ways a bit of a turbulent year, like, you know, because it is this whole like, it's just this like post-graduation void you step into. It's like, all right, cool, now I'm expected to just be like a proper adult and get a job, but you don't really know what you want to do. And then you look around and it's like, jobs are actually really hard to get and they're quite rare unless you, I know, did computer science or something like this. I don't know. As like an arts or history or whatever graduate, they're not. There's not loads of them. And then obviously you're thrown into the mix there as well, that you're like, you know, you've moved back to another country, away from your family, your mates and stuff. So it was a bit up and down. But basically, long story short here is that, like, yes, when I had my weekends off, but it was also quite rare I had weekends off and stuff.
Fair,
as well.
yeah. I remember them days though.
Yeah.
When it's like you're trying to make ends meet.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like you're still not trying to do that, but you know,
For sure.
when you're young and it's like, oh, I want to go out, but then I've also got this job where I'm required to work weekends, and it's a bit tedious sometimes.
It can get a bit long. But yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully, I've recently got a new job out there, which is good. Like 9 to 5, working at the university, so well happy about that, you know, to get my weekends back.
That means you can hopefully
play out a bit more. So, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, you know, this year's been really good. I think, you know, irrespective of that, I think I made the best out of it. You know, like I've done Berlin and London for the first time this year.
Where'd you play? Really cool. At each?
So played twice in London this year, one at Corsica, one at MOT.
Venue.
Amazing venue, sound system's mental in there. Like,
probably like 2011 when me and Ledger played there. But then MOT, I've still not been there yet, but I've heard many good things.
Really cool venue. And then Berlin was, it was a set. I don't know. I think it was I think it was legal, but I'm honestly not sure. It was an off location, but like basically opposite the old Griesmühle, if that means anything to anyone. So like just essentially across the river, and that was really cool. So like, you know, done little bits. There were obviously loads of bits that I couldn't do because of work and stuff, but yeah, it's good, and yeah, hopefully it will come a bit more.
I'm guessing you've still got these contacts, so hopefully now moving forwards, that's it.
So,
just see how it goes.
Exactly. Take it day by day. Yeah. So, yeah.
What would you say, or like, shall I say, who are like your inspirations when it comes to your production side of things?
I think it's pretty varied. To be honest, I think the time when I was like, obviously, you know, really getting into dance music would have been between 2015 and 2015 onwards, really. And sort of a lot of the stuff that was happening at that time, I think a lot of my sort of real penny drop moments really, you know, happened. You know, it's just completely intertwined with Sheffield as well, and what was going on at that time, the parties and stuff. It's like obviously Groundwork, a lot of the sounds they were playing out there, obviously wildly influential, because I was there every month for the best part of 3 years. Like,
that's it. Your ritual.
Exactly. And then, you know, obviously like I mean, Cabal was also huge for us when we, when we sort of reached the sort of age where we were sort of alright to go out.
I always want
Yeah,
you could get away with it anyway.
You can get away with it, exactly, more or less. But like, yeah, that was obviously huge. Control were obviously throwing some really cool parties at that time. Like there was a couple of really sort of impactful nights that they did, and then sort of, I think the tail end of PPG was still kicking off then. Like I remember seeing Helena Hauff at the Harley for like 200 people, and that completely blew me away. And yeah, just like, obviously like the smaller stuff as well. I'm sure there was some gut level stuff happening back then, or towards the later end of that. Like lots of, essentially everything that was going on in Sheffield around that time obviously hugely influenced, what I do. And then I guess outside of that, it's just sort of what you're listening to. But it was obviously like pretty just diverse range of stuff. Like, in that time, I discovered like, because you just spend time online, don't you?
That's
and
the internet's a beautiful thing for
exactly,
some things.
For sure, and you're just exposed to like everything, So it was just an absolute melting pot of stuff, and I think I probably could pick out some key influences if I sat down for a while and really thought about it. But it's one of them questions where I'm like, I can't, your mind goes blank.
Now that's it.
Yeah, but like, I'm sure if people listen to the tunes or whatever, they could probably hear touch points here and there, but it's not something I can like personally like clock onto.
That's it. It's probably like subconsciously going in as well, a lot of it.
Exactly. Just all music is good music.
And the fact that you used to have your roots in like rock and metal and stuff, that's also, always
100%.
Always a good sign.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like, I had a chat with my brother about this the other week as well. It's like, there's like a lot of like the sort of UK like techno. I say like UK techno stuff. There's lots of like there's lots of kicks that are like sort of kind of rolling, like the do 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 do. And I was like, Matt, do you not think that's like some sort of conscious hangover from like the double kick drums in metal a lot of the time? He's like, oh yeah, it makes loads of sense, just like the sort of the kind of the kicks that aren't either like on a 4x4.
Just trying to fit them in where you can.
And like, and I was like, yeah, and I'm sure there's loads of like influences that you'd probably pick out in like a psychotherapy session or something, but like you can't really put your head.
I remember DJing at Harley once with Mum Dance and talking to him for a while, and then he was like, oh yeah, I fucking love metal, and I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, honestly. I think you do hear it sometimes, and you do hear it in the wildest of places as well, and that's sick. And obviously Sheffield had probably still does as well. I've not been here for a while.
Oh yeah,
wicked metal scene as well.
Still
has been for years. Like it all meshes together at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, big time. I feel like Sheffield inspires itself as well in a certain way. Like since everyone's kind of backing each other and looking at what everyone's doing, there's a lot of like, oh yeah, that's it. But then this crossover with stuff like that, and like you say, sometimes it can happen subconsciously as well.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, people didn't even realise that they've done that.
Exactly, but I also think that's such a key part of Sheffield, because everyone is backing each other and everyone is supporting each other.
Yeah.
But this sort of cross-pollination's encouraged, and this sort of cross-influencing of things is encouraged.
And even just seeing people at gigs or at nights where it's like, it's like, I met you at that other show, which I would not expect to see you here, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's just it is a very Sheffield thing. That like I think that's great, but I think that's where a lot of the not success, but the fruition, the flourishment of Sheffield as a city of music comes from, which is that like support for each other.
It's a lovely thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Long may it continue.
Long may it continue, for sure.
So the question that I ask all of the DJs: what tune do you reckon you've played out the most? There's got to be like one that's the staple of the set kind of vibe.
Staple of the set, I would say, on an average of all sets, it would probably be XLB by Pearson Sound.
Classic,
Yeah.
yes.
There's a
Yeah.
if I'm ever...
He's got a few bangers. I used to love that Blank tune.
Blanked is amazing,
Yeah.
yeah, all that early Hassel stuff. But yeah, if I'm ever in a pinch, or I'm like, I don't know what to do, or like it's not going down well with the crowd I'm in front of, it's just always that tune.
Yeah.
Always that tune. It's just
saving grace.
It's saving grace, yeah, for sure. So I think like obviously being a bit of a bang average DJ, you land yourself in these situations quite often.
Don't discredit yourself like that.
But like, you know, you land yourself in these situations quite often, and yeah, you reach for that tune quite a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it is an absolute dance saver a lot of the time if you're playing techno adjacent stuff, or you know.
That's it. You can kind of move between realms with that as
exactly,
well.
Yeah, it gives you the flexibility.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love them
huge
DJ
track.
tools. That's
DJ
what I tend
tools,
to call them.
yeah, literally.
Oh,
But
then another one.
yeah, wicked.
Right, one that I ask everyone anyway, and this is usually where people struggle every now and again. If there's one album you could listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
It would be Loveless by My Bloody
See,
Valentine.
you knew that were coming, didn't you?
No, yeah, maybe, but that's my
My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
That's a big shout though.
yeah. That had a massive impact on me in my teenage years. Like, I think it was one of the sort of first records where I sort of really like I was just like, wow, producing as like an art form, it's just a mad thing, because I think you listen to it initially, it does sound like an absolute wall of sound, and it's just like, but then like everything so well detailed and placed, and the layers, it all sort of meshes together into like a carpet or a fabric of like,
you're going like tapestry vibes.
tapestry, yeah, exactly. And I remember listening to it and being like, bloody hell, like it doesn't sound like guitars anymore.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It sounds like something alive, and yeah, it was amazing. That would be, but obviously that is just definitely a certain kind of mood, you know. Like,
Well, this is it. A lot of it is mood dependent with this kind of stuff, isn't it? That's what we say.
I think if I was on like a desert island somewhere, wanting something a bit more cheerful, I probably wouldn't go
never
for
know.
that. But yeah, you don't know that. But yeah, like, you know, probably want Dr. Dre's The Chronic or something. You know? Like,
Again, another banger.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, it's all about the vibe. But I think, you know, like, you know, Gun on Head. Like, what's the album for all time? It would probably be that one.
There you go. That's a great answer. Yeah. So we'll take that.
Yeah.
So a new question I'm bringing in. You're going to be the
Alright,
first person to get
okay.
this, and this is a play on my DJ name.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is your true fiction? And that means, tell me a time that you've told a lie or some sort of bullshit to get out of a situation.
Okay. That's a difficult one.
It's a funny one.
It
People
is a
I've
funny
asked
one.
just like off air, I've had some great answers so far.
Really? Oh God. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd say I'm a relatively honest person.
And then white. Well, that's a good thing. It's them little white lies
it's them
sometimes,
little
isn't
white
it?
lies,
It's like
God.
what that lad's just like. You don't know how many times my nan's died, so I've got out of work, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. God, that is a good one. I'm not sure, you know. I've really, my mind's drawing a blank here as well. I'm sure there's been occasions. But I really can't put my finger on any.
That's probably a good sign then.
Yeah, apologies. I wish I had something juicy, but no, I don't think. No, I can't. I really can't think.
That's
of
fine.
it. Apologies.
Well, it's one of them for the
Yeah.
listeners and for future guests. That's coming to you.
That's
so,
coming soon. Yeah.
Like, I want some gold for this.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
me,
Dig deep.
tell
Dig
me your
deep.
darkest secrets, yeah.
For sure.
And hopefully you don't get dobbed in after. So let's move on to a bit of Sheffield talk.
Yeah.
Since you're back. So
I am. Yeah.
I mean, is it nice to be back? Is there a lot changed?
It's lovely to be back. I always feel like there's a weight off my shoulders when I'm in the city. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's nice. Like you should know your way around.
Yeah, the pace of life,
Pace
all
of
that.
life, exactly. And yeah, it has changed quite a lot. Like, I mean, last time I was here was January, but I was basically locked in here for a whole week with Ian writing an album. So
yeah, you hired out the studio.
I did.
So it has got some more use, not just from me and Sam as well.
For sure. But yeah, we were just in here all the time. So, and it was also January as well. So
Best time to be locked in here. So it's dark and it's cold.
Exactly. It's like I didn't really get out and see much of the city, or have a look round. But in the past couple of days, like I've been wandering around. There's so much new stuff, like new buildings.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I'd be driving around in the car with my dad, and I'd be like, bloody hell, like where has that come from? And there's just like an absolute sort of Blade Runner-esque massive skyscraper in front of me. I'd be like, I swear to God that wasn't here when I was last there.
It just shows things are moving fast,
For sure. So that, like, loads of that, and in corners where you just really wouldn't expect to me either. Like, you turn a corner and you're like, oh, Jesus. And then lots of, like, I've just seen lots of, like, new food joints and new cocktail bars.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but, like, I think on the whole it's a good thing. But, like, just loads of random... Yeah, just loads of new places to go and eat, like, which I'm just not used to. I don't remember really. I think it's cool, rejuvenating the urban environment and stuff. But
it's another more tourist attractions as well. It's like obviously there's that Cambridge Street Collective, the biggest food hall in Europe.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently,
right,
so that's a big claim to fame just for that. People have been coming to Sheffield just for that. Apparently,
really, just for that, mad. Yeah, because I mean, I walked around there actually today because me and mum and dad were just like bumbling around in town, like that's what we've been doing the past couple of days, and just like watching Trailer Park Boys and stuff. But like I walk in, I was like, fuck yeah, this is well swanky.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm always not used to it. Like I was
it's a bit fancy for Sheffield,
isn't it? Yeah. And I think it's really cool. But like, lots of these areas of town and these sort of touch points that I used to know sort of from years ago, like I remember, the Nelson.
Yeah.
That's just brick dust now. There's just nothing there.
I remember, what were it? Rocking Chair, Cafe Totem. Yeah.
And I remember, like, spending quite a few evenings of my youth in there.
In that basement.
In that basement, yeah.
We did a Unit 3 in there years ago.
Yeah, literally. And I remember that basement absolutely popping. And you come round that roundabout now on the bus and you go up there, you look left and there's nothing
it's
there.
It's just flat.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, like, and there's examples of that obviously like around the city, but it seems to be redeveloping, rejuvenating, reviving. So I think a lot's changed. I think it's obviously for the better, like, but it's just a bit disorientating.
I bet, yeah. It's like, what's going on? Where's everything gone?
Yeah, it's like, how long have I been out? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's even nice that like things have been rehomed, like gut levels on Chapel Walk now.
I think that's amazing that they've got a space like so central as well.
But it's also kind of just off the beaten track as well.
A little bit, yeah, for sure. But like stuff like that, and I think that's great. I think if we can whack some more community spaces and more sort of grassroots stuff in and amongst this rejuvenation, we'll be laughing.
This is it.
But yeah, it's it's mad. It's completely mad. Like it's all changed, and as it should.
Oh yeah, it's evolution, isn't it? End of the day.
It is.
So if I were to say Sheffield, I've not got round to this yet. What would be the first thing that comes to mind?
Say Sheffield.
It can be anything.
I think it's just a warm feeling. It's a warm
that's
feeling.
Nice, that.
No, it is though. I know it sounds bollocks, but it is. Like you think of Sheffield, I'm like, yeah, sick. Family, friends, community.
Yeah.
Good time. Like it is. It's home, isn't it? And I think that's yeah, it's just
That's that
it's
nice
It's
homely
just
blanket.
Yeah, it is. You know, I'm just very lucky to be from like the greatest city in the whole of the UK. You know, and I think that's.
I agree with you.
No,
I know
for
there's
sure,
loads
like,
of people that won't, but
yeah, of
fuck
course,
them.
yeah. literally. But I don't know. I've yet to go to a city or live in a city in the UK that feels like Sheffield does. And I think that's you know, really unique. And I also think as well, like, a lot of my love for it has come, you know, since I've been away as well. You know, you appreciate like what you have.
What is it? You don't know what you've got till it's gone.
It's gone, exactly. You know, like, hilariously, you know, on a good example of this, going back to the clubs and stuff. Like, you know, when like you're young or whatever, you start going out to parties. And in Sheffield, it's the norm to, like, you know, walk into a party and it's like, yeah, there's like an 8.5 foot like dub rig stood in front of you, absolutely, like, you know, like rattling your ribs for the best part of 12 hours. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. That must exactly be how all parties everywhere are. No, it's not. And you know, and that's things like that where you're just like, whoa, okay, like, there's appreciations for things, like, you know, also like, you know, you know, surely every city's got like a you know, really nice, like, you know, nature reserve, like 15-20 minute drive from the city centre.
Not Birmingham.
And then not Birmingham. You know, and like living in Manchester city centre really knocked that out of me. You know, I was like, oh, no, obviously it takes you an hour to get out of the city. Like,
that's it, yeah.
You know, and it's all of these things that, like, when you know, you're growing up here and you're like, you see it, you appreciate it, you obviously love it. But you think that's the norm everywhere, especially when you're young as well. Like, you don't really know much different.
You take it for granted a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. And then going away, just really, like, yeah, you notice all of that a lot more. And it's sort of, yeah, your love for the city then, you know, it takes on like another stage of evolution. You know, it's great. But yeah. Warm feeling.
Yeah.
Warm feeling.
Love that. That's gonna get clipped, don't
it's
you?
It's gonna get clipped. Yeah, me just being a soppy bastard. Like.
I mean, I've heard other people say similar answers to that, so
yeah.
Don't stress, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah. So we've just touched on venues a little bit. But if you could bring back a classic venue, where would it be? And there's always two angles with this. Can be somewhere you've been that you've missed, or somewhere you never got the chance to experience.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Or you could do both. Fuck it.
We do both. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Ooh, that's got me thinking that. I think, so if we're going on, obviously it's not, you know, it's not like dance music related, but I would like to have like seen the Lead Mill in its heyday. You know, like back in the 90s, all the bands and stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of would have really
Not
interested.
like Pulp kind of days.
Pulp kind of days, yeah, that would have been really, really cool. I think that would, yeah, and then also obviously you've got like, I guess niche, but I don't know whether that would have been like my cup of tea massively. Oh, this is such a difficult, and this is the thing. This podcast will probably stop. I'll walk out and I'll be like, that's.
The amount of people text me like, I've just thought of something.
I've just thought of something. Yeah, and this is the thing. When you're on the spot, you can't think of those.
You need to start sending questions through. Like, right, there you go. You can think
in
about some
advance,
of these.
in advance for sure. Oh god. I mean, I guess Cafe Totem would be cool if that was back. But Shakespeare's. Guess what? The Hope Works still there. That was definitely a venue.
The Harley comes up a lot.
The Harley, yeah. That's it.
Your eyes lit
that's
up
it.
Instantly.
And this is that's the, like, I'm there trying to work with it. And it's obviously the Harley. yeah. Bring back the Harley, but like the old Harley, because they did actually bring the Harley back for a bit, didn't they?
I mean, they're trying to do it again.
They're trying to do it again.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to do it like the old one, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, that's obviously the answer. Yeah. Yeah, the Harley. Yeah.
Boom.
Thanks for that. Yeah, and this would have hit me when I'd walked out. I'd been like,
yeah.
No,
one that had so many good memories as well.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that was Unit 1. Yeah.
All the I'm glad you agree on that one there.
100%. 100%.
So, while you've been back, have you been out for food anywhere? Have you got like any food spots that you would recommend?
Ooh, definitely. So, I mean, food spots. I've been back. I definitely, a couple of childhood classics for me. Definitely the Belash it's like...
Rings a bell.
Right. Yeah, it's like a takeaway. I don't know whether it's like objectively the best curry in the world or whatever, like sort of gastrobollocks people want to talk about, but that's definitely the takeout of my childhood.
Yeah.
Obviously, sort of around the ends I grew up in, like Two Steps Fish Bar, absolute classic, stone cold classic.
Yeah.
And then Falafel King. That we'd go there.
Yeah. I think that's still going as well.
That's still going. That I haven't been back for a while, but I remember that was definitely like a real formative falafel for me back in the day. Like a real good one. And other than that, I don't really know. I wouldn't have a massive idea of what's going on.
That's what I mean. That's why there's certain things I was like, I'm not going to go too
difficult-
heavy because you're not a bit out at loop, I guess.
I am. But I'm sure there's some wicked spots. Just can't think of any.
Well, it's one of them. There's some good shouts there already.
Yeah.
I mean, Two Steps comes up a lot anyway
Yeah,
when I ask what people's chippy is. Did you ever have a sandwich shop of choice?
Sandwich shop, yeah, we had one like up the road from us called Sean's. I don't know what it's
proper
called.
local
Proper
vibes.
Sean's, yeah, literally. It was hilarious. Like on that street, we had like Sean's the bakeries and Pat the butchers, and we'd go from Pat the butchers, and we'd just go from like Pat's to get your sausages over to Sean's sandwich and then go home. But yeah, back in the day, hot roast pork sandwich from Sean's,
Yes.
stuffing, crackling apple sauce, dripping.
That sounds banging.
Oh mate, like that was the real deal. I think they're still going.
Whereabouts? What area?
I think it's up on Banner Cross, so above Ecclesall, but above Endcliffe Park.
Further up, I know where you mean.
Yeah, I think it's called the Banner Crust now. Worth checking out. Legendary.
I like that name. They've twisted it a
The
little
Banner
bit.
Crust, yeah, it's a nifty bit of marketing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it changed ownership. But I think the same people that were working in there back in the day are still working there.
Nice, a little rebrand.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to get with 21st century vibes.
For sure. But that was 100% like that's that would have been like my absolutely death row meal. You know what I mean? Like a sandwich from Sean. And they do them in the proper big bread cakes.
Them ones where it's just like, right, you can have half, then that's for now, and then you can have another half later.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the full thing, and then you're absolutely tanked on the sofa for the best part of an hour.
What was that one? There used to be one near Leadmill. I think it was called Tilly's. That used to be a bit like that.
Yeah, proper legendary as well. Yeah. That's the bit, man. That's the proper sandwiches.
Yeah, it's like if bread cake's bigger than your head, then you're laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind all filling as well.
For sure.
So, let's do a quick fire round then.
Right, okay.
Get me photos.
Good.
I'll put these up on the video, hopefully. But what would you call one of these?
Bread cake.
Yeah.
100%. Oh. But is that one of them between the houses or between streets?
You know, why have you got two different sayings for
Well,
them?
because the one being between the houses and is a general.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that would count as a general. Or
Well, that's what most people said for that. That's what I'm calling it.
Okay.
Unless people have said alleyway and like Snicket comes
Snicket,
up. Right, one of them.
Scone?
Yeah, that's more just for, how'd you say,
That's
scone or scone?
Once it's scone, it's scone.
Pack of them.
Chud?
Chud, yeah.
Right.
Boom, that's it.
Yeah. That's it. Okay, that was
quick fire.
That was quick.
That's it. 30 seconds getting them fucked off. We need to montage that one. I did the real bread cake.
Yeah.
Then I was saying before, seen that Sky Sports used it.
Shocking.
They were going around asking what's one of these, and you know what? At tram lines, I got a press pass, but I had too many things in my hand. I didn't get a cameraman. That's where I fucked up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no tram lines episode. Sorry, I fucked that up because I didn't get someone. But it's because I had a GoPro like on a tripod thing. I had microphone, and then I was walking around with a bread cake as well, and I was just like, ooh, and then everyone was just looking at me like, why have you got bread cake? And I was just like, yeah, I need to. What am I doing?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, it's got to be done though.
It was good fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to say.
Yeah, it was just jokes that. And then, so what would be like your term of endearment, your greeting kind of vibe when you see one of your mates?
Hey up.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, or you're alright.
Yeah, the classic, same as me, that, to be fair.
Hey up, hey yeah. I quite like hey yeah as well. Like, it's a bit soft.
Hey yeah.
Hey yeah.
Yeah, I thought you meant like Outcast there.
Hey yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good. Oh yeah, probably another one of those albums I'd whack on my Desert Island list as well.
Good shout. Yeah. What, Speaker Box?
No, Cremonite or what's the 80 Aliens one? All of that was God.
They had so many good bangers, didn't they?
So many bangers. Just like some of the best ever. Like proper legendary.
Yeah, bring them back, man.
Bring them back.
Proper just doing their own thing.
Andre 3000's on his flute stuff now.
That was sick. That album.
I really rated that. I think it was a very hard vibe. Like you know, one of the most like innovative rappers of all time. Just like sacks it off and plays flute really well. Like, so
yeah, he's actually very good at it. I
he's
feel
actually
like
very good
all
at
the
it,
track names were amazing as well.
Yeah.
Like what a first track, just like I didn't know I was gonna make a flute album, but here we go, kind of thing. Something like that.
Literally, yeah. Love the track names. Big fan of long track names as well.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep them guessing.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to like when you sort of listen to it on Spotify, you sort of sat there, looking at the screen.
Yeah,
like,
then it goes dark.
And it's scrolling. It's scrolling. You only get like halfway through the sentence and the screen goes down.
Yeah, they're the ones. I'm all for that.
For sure. Yeah, it's sick.
So the footy question then. Yeah, Wednesday or United?
It's
fine. I love how people are like iffy when they say it because they know that they feel like I'm going to berate them or something. But no, it's all good. Like, what got you into that then?
I'm not a massive football fan. I'll honestly confess. My team would be United if I took a massive interest in it, but it was just never really my thing. I don't know why. And my dad took me to loads of games when I was a kid. And honestly, like, I was more interested in playing Pokemon on my Game Boy.
Yeah. What, at the games?
Yeah, at the games, yeah. And I think, like, at the time, obviously, my mum was just like, oh, yeah, take Pete down to the footy. Yeah, it'd be nice to give her a bit of time alone away from the kids and stuff.
Bit of father-son time.
A bit of father-son time, yeah. And I'm like, oh, Dad, gotta take my Game Boy. He's like, yeah, whatever. Keep you quiet. And then, basically I had a mate at football, Tom, who was also just well into it. So we'd just sit there for the best part of 90 minutes exchanging Pokemon and giving each other cheat codes and stuff.
Love that. That's not been a story we've had yet.
For sure. It's like, it's classic experimental techno producer origin story that never bothered with football, didn't really have any friends, I just played Pokemon at football matches when I was a kid.
Probably better than watching United anyway.
That is the debate.
I'm going to get some hate on that, but again,
it happens.
Fuck off, is what it is.
There was one absolutely spectacular football match where for some reason or other I was well knackered. And I think it was against QPR, if I remember correctly. It was sort of a half-full stadium, and it got to half-time, and I was like, oh, Dad, I'm not really into this, can I go to sleep? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. So then I just pulled down 2 of the chairs, curled up on the chairs, and slept through the second half, and 2 goals. Yeah, literally. I can't remember what year that was, but I think at that point my dad was like, right, okay, this probably isn't for me.
Wasting money here.
Wasting money, exactly. I'm pretty sure you could get like a free or heavily scouted child season ticket or something back in the day.
Sound.
Can't remember, but like, yeah, it wasn't mine. But if anyone asks, it's United.
Well,
It's
there
the
you go. At
Blades,
least you
yeah.
still stand by that.
I do, and every now and then I do check on the table. I get disappointed and then I realise I'm not into football. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. But,
Have you got any other sporting interests there?
so a big climber.
Yeah.
Big climber. I used to do that loads growing up. Less so nowadays, but that was definitely my main. Still the main, I'd say, sporting outlet. Like, that's sort of what we were all doing back in the day, and like Peak District is right on your doorstep as well.
Yeah, plus there's good sports like Hanger and like Foundry and all these.
Foundry, legendary spots, and then like, you jump in your car with your mates and you're just in like some of the most world-class trad routes like
people
ever.
travel the world to come here for that, don't
yeah,
they?
exactly. So we were just like obviously super lucky, like just cutting around when we were sort of teenagers and stuff, like just like getting on the grit and that. But yeah, that was the spot. And living in Sheffield, it's like it'd be silly kind of not to in a weird way, but obviously it was great. Just out bouldering, sport, tried a lot, just climbing them walls.
You see. I dabbled in it a couple of years ago. I've not done it for a little bit, but it's good fun and it's good for the brain as well, I feel.
Really good for the brain, yeah. I think it's one of them activities where it's like you don't know you're exercising
because you're having fun as well.
Exactly, yeah. You're having fun and you're so busy thinking about like, where do I put my hands so that I don't fall off? Like, what I mean?
Survival instinct.
Yeah, survival instinct kicks in. And then you only realise how knackered you are when you go home and you realise like you can't squeeze the shower gel because your forearms are all pumped. Like, you're like, right, okay, that was actually a bit
day
hard.
after, it's like, everything hurts.
Everything hurts, yeah, exactly.
That was like me after pit last week at
Corn.
Corn.
I was going to say,
oh, why did I do that? I forgot I'm in my 30s now, why?
Yeah, for sure.
But still,
yeah,
it's good fun to try anyway, isn't it?
It's got to be done.
You only live once, don't you?
Indeed.
Right, where are we? Near the back end of this now, to be fair. Yeah.
It's gone
still recording, yeah.
Okay,
I thought that'd stop for a minute then. Like, no.
That'd be,
usually at this point I ask like, what you got coming up, kind of vibe.
What have I got coming up? I have got not loads coming up at the moment. I've got a couple of tracks coming out on 2 VA compilations, so just like a various artists.
Like a split kind of thing?
Split kind of thing, yeah. So just like we get loads of different artists to like sort of contribute to a record, and pretty excited about both of them actually. Both relatively big. Their first step up. So those two will be out before the end of the year.
Nice.
Other than that, not loads. Currently working on the second release for the label now, which should be also out in autumn.
I mean, we've not really spoke about the
Not really
label, have
spoke
we?
about
Yeah,
that
let's
as well,
speak
but-
about that before we finish
For
then.
sure.
So like,
so
I'll let you go with this.
Sure, yeah. I mean, so it started a label recently, called Sheffield-born, and we did the first release for that, in July it was now, and did
It's not that long since then.
not that long ago, no. It feels like an eternity ago, weirdly.
I feel like this year's just flying by as well.
It is. It's going so quick. And that went, relatively well. It's always difficult when you're starting a new label because people don't obviously know the label. There's no discography. You don't know what it is. But essentially that went relatively well, and we did like a launch party for that in London as well.
Was that the one at MOT?
MOT, yeah. Which also went relatively well. I think at the moment my barometer for success is like relative financial liquidity. Do you know what I mean? It's like as long as we're not like losing loads and loads of money, it's all right at the moment, and we're not quite there at the moment, but we're well on our way.
It's all part of the process.
It's all part of the process, exactly. But that's gone well. And like the first, because obviously it's the first label I'd sort of, really sort of had a hand in starting up. We had the groundwork stuff as well back in the day, obviously happened, but I didn't really have anything to do with the admin side of that. So it's obviously just a process of like figuring out what to do and what not to do, and we also decided to take the really wise step of doing all the distribution ourselves.
Oh yeah, sick.
Which is great, which obviously means that it's really, really sort of real laid back ride, not so we're having so obviously we're there basically trying to flog like all of these records and organise them, ship them, blah 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 blah. So it was just sort of figuring out that and how that all works as a system more than anything, and how like what we can do, what we can't do, what we have the energy for, what we don't. So obviously we're like, okay, I'll do that release just so that we're not having any artist like essentially dependent on us and our like incompetence. Really.
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you'll take the risk first.
Exactly,
almost,
guinea pigging it a bit. But the idea is obviously from now, like we've got everything relatively running smoothly.
You understand the process as well.
Understand the process as well, and yeah, we're essentially gonna develop our sort of roster of artists, as of the autumn time, and sort of branch that out and sort of do that properly, which would be good. Lots of work to be taken on with, which would be great. But yeah, just looking forward to that. Couple of releases coming out, and then sort of whatever gigs may or may not drop in between now and Christmas.
It's just a matter of seeing how things work.
Exactly.
Just don't put any pressure on it.
For sure.
I think that's a key thing. Sometimes people expect everything at once, and it's like, no, calm down.
It's not the case.
Baby steps, innit?
Baby steps, and the thing is, if you expect everything at once as well, you're often not prepared for it. You know? Like, better to have 10 years doing something that you love, and then if that is actually something you want, something to happen, at least you've got 10 years in the bank to like draw on when it finally happens. But
and you know what the pitfalls are amongst it as well. Then
for sure, it's it's always better to not rush with anything. Like, do it once and do it properly. Like,
that's it.
It's always the way, and it's a bit cringe or whatever. But do it once, take your time, do it properly, and you can't really go wrong. It just becomes a question of stamina.
That's it. There's no cheat codes. There's no cutting corners. No. Sometimes people get lucky. I'll give them that on certain 100%. Things, but like usually when people are like, "Oh, you've smashed it. You're so good," and it's like, yeah, but you don't see how much hard work and dedication is put in behind the scenes as well.
Exactly. And not everything that glitters is gold.
That's a good line. Though.
It is, yeah. Wish I could say I came up with it myself, but it is true, and. It's just about time and just enjoying what you're doing, not taking yourself.
You just reminded me of a line.
Oh, yeah.
I've probably said it before on podcast, but it's funny. It's like, don't force it. It's like a fart. Sometimes you force it, it's shit.
That's quite a good one, actually. That is true. That is very true. For sure, it's often the ones that you don't force that can also surprise you as well. If I'm being honest, but let's cut that one. But that's one for the edit. But
oh no, that's staying in. I love that.
But yeah, so no, just honestly looking forward to cracking on with all of that, really. Just getting amongst it, and starting a new job as well, get my weekends back, going for swims, going to random semi-legal parties in various places in Germany, and just enjoying my early 20s, I guess.
Yeah, fucking hell, I'm jealous. Wish I could go back to them days, mate.
So you got to max out while you can.
That's it. I mean, not gonna lie, I had fun. I just wish I could remember some of it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people. I mean, it gets a bit blurry for me sometimes as well. Even like banging
don't have to stick best to us.
It does. But yeah, all to come, all to play for.
Yeah. And so, where can the people find you online and also the label?
Online, we're so online with the label everywhere. So I mean, you can listen on Spotify, you can listen on SoundCloud, I think you can listen on YouTube. But we didn't upload any of that stuff. I think it's just been
A bit like Swilton vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's always a good sign. Tastemakers are picking it up.
Yeah, for sure, and that's encouraging. But if you want to go and support it, Bandcamp's the best place to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to get a record, we've lovingly hand stickered all 300 of them, which took as long as it sounds. So if you want one of them, obviously that's where best place to go and get it. There's some records stocked in shops as well. Grub Records. Ah, yeah, of course. No, sorry. I'm playing at Grub Records on Friday for a little in-store session before Control.
Don't think this will be out by then.
It won't be out by then. All right, then, yeah, we'll leave that out.
You missed a banging gig.
Missed a banging gig, which really, honestly. But then, yeah, so Bandcamp, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify.
What's tags on socials?
I
like
think
Insta
it's
and
at
that.
secondborn __. Oh, it might be 3 underscores. The underscore game, I'm not sure on.
See, I've always rocked with the last just one underscore at the end.
Yeah, someone's already taken that name.
Well, this is it. I can't. There was a previous guest I had on. We were just like, where did that come from? The underscore.
Honestly,
it's like, I don't know. It works.
I think because you can't put a space in your app name, so then that's the closest thing you could have to.
Yeah, full stops. Like it's all right, but
it doesn't look quite the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then obviously myself, you can find me also on all of those platforms, and Instagram as well. I think Facebook if you're kicking it old school, I suppose, as well. As just Porter Brook and that. And yeah, I guess I'd probably stop short of giving my email and phone number out.
No, that's fine. I don't need your address, none of that.
Yeah, don't give me your address, Alright, grand.
Is it just at Porter Brook then?
At Porter Brook, I think there's probably some underscores at play as well there, but again, I wouldn't know without checking.
It's fine, if you're Sheffield, you'll put in at Porter and you'll probably have mutual followers there.
Exactly,
so.
or you'll get like a scaffolding company come up, like the Porter Brook
or
scaffolding,
or the pub,
or the pub, or the river. Or like, so yeah, it's endless, isn't it? What a great name!
Oh, honestly, thank you for coming down for this.
Pleasure.
I've had a very good laugh. You're right funny.
Yeah, honestly, thanks, lad. I mean, obviously, big fan of the podcast.
Oh, big ups, thank you.
And yeah, you invited me back in January. I was like, yeah, would love to come on.
Yeah, well, that's it. We always had that in there since then, so
For sure.
it's nice. As soon as you said you're coming back, it's like, right, let's get it in.
Lock it in.
And this is probably the first one. Of the post-summer run. Only because it gets so hot. I mean, I'm sweaty as fuck.
I'm sweaty as well at the moment.
I remember doing it last year, and it was just like sometimes you'd just be dripping. It's like, let's not do that this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Summertime might be break time moving forwards, but winter, don't worry, crack on, because it's nice just to get it warm in here. Plus, it's cheaper than warm in house.
It's true. That's very true. Very true.
Well, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
but honestly, big ups. For the listeners, don't forget like and subscribe and all that shit. And yeah, see you in a bit.
A bit.